Hi friends, I'm Sarah McGinty, brand educator with Kenra Professional, and I'm so excited to show you how to achieve this warm color block. This is amazing for your guests that really want to switch things up. Maybe they have had a solid foundation for a while and just want to introduce something that gives a little bit of contrast, and you could decide as an artist how high impact you want to go with the tonality contrast, or you can keep it all in the same warm family like we'll achieve today. Let's dive in. All right, so to kick off our sectioning for our warm color block, this is going to be a 5-section placement. As you can see, I've isolated out her front fringe. We're going to install some accents and a weave there to give her some dimension. And then if I show you here, on the top 2 quadrants, this is going to keep her depth and be her foundation. And then we're going to install our accent pieces in these triangle sections above her ear. And the reason we're going to do that is when she wears her hair forward, she's going to have all this beautiful contrast with her accents, and then we're going to keep this her foundation. So here is foundation, accents here, and foundation. So we're going to keep that depth in her foundation and add those accents for a pop of contrast. This is great for clients that are really trend driven, want to try something new, and even when she does wear her hair back and away in a beautiful top knot or even in a high bun, these panels will look so cool when she lifts her hair up. So I'm going along her hairline here and going to install my first slice with our Creme Lightener and 20 volume. But I wanted to also speak to, because it's really important when you have your consultations with your clients that you truly understand the hair history. And of course you want to start with a thorough consultation, but you can dive deeper for more accuracy. And that's when I did 2 strand tests here internally in her hair just to test out what lightener I would like to choose. This is really important to visualize and see for yourself your client's hair history. We can have those thorough consultations, but taking it a step further as a professional is really, really important. So you have your plan for her color application. And so this is the blue powder lightener patch test on this side. It gave that great lift that we needed. But I also did the Creme Lightener, and I love the evenness of this lift. This lifts up to 8 levels with our Creme Lightener. It has marula oil in it, so it's gonna protect the integrity of her hair. And I just love the lift that we achieved here to this level 8, and that's the level that I'm going to want to achieve when we place in our accent work with our Creme Lightener. This is my target level, so I'm happy to proceed with my chosen lightener, which is our Creme Lightener. So I'm going to start in these application slices, diagonal back, and we're just going to fill up this entire isolated triangle pre-section area. And my other pro tip is to get even saturation of your product. I have talked about this before in other videos maybe you've seen, where my sectioning is really purposeful and you want to be able to see a text message through. So I can literally read a text message through there. That's how thin I want my subsections to be. And the reason behind that is so you get that accuracy, you get that full saturation and even distribution of product, and I will be able to maintain and get my end result of this lift. Diagonal back with my slices, I'm just locking that in place. That first foil is right behind her ear. And I'm gonna start at the root. And I'm just feathering in until I get all of my product distributed off of my brush, and then I can go ahead and reapply more product. Look at this creamy consistency of this Creme Lightener, and like I said, it will be incredible for maintaining the integrity of your client's hair, especially with her previous color history. I felt as a stylist and professional that this was my best option for this color placement. Whoever sits in our chair is our walking advertisement at the end of the day. So even if you have to block out in your schedule to be able to have those thorough consultations, do a patch test. It's going to work out so well in your favor because your clients are your walking advertisement and you're building trust at the same time, which is so important. And I'm actually going to flat foil this on top of each other and lock in place. Because of the length of her hair, and also that panel of hair can lay out flat and get that even lift that I'm looking for. And then I'm just going to continue back to back with my slices. And again, see how fine my sections are. You need to be able to read a text message through. That will just help you so much in the long run. Working smarter, not harder, but being very intentional about how you're applying your application. And I'll just continue working by applying, getting that great saturation with our cream lightener up until that triangle ends. And we're going to achieve the same application on the other side. And then we'll be able to move on to her front hairline, her fringe area, and we'll do some medium weaves up there. And the reason why I want to switch from a slice to a weave around her face is if she wears her hair back, she will still have a soft diffusion, even though we're still doing a color block. We're just switching up our application technique. So slices back here for that boldness in the interior of her hair, and then when she wears her hair down, and then in the front fringe area, we'll do some weaves. So she still has that diffusion. It's a little softer look when she wears her hair back, and it will all just melt together so beautifully. So my tips for saturation, it's always going to be easier if you have a manageable section. So this subsection here, you can read a text message through, and then you will just have that insurance policy for yourself that if you have manageable sections, it's easier for you to get that full saturation. I run the risk of not having enough saturation or spending too much time to really work that product in if I took a larger section. So this gives me accuracy, it gives me that insurance that I know this strand is going to have full saturation because I'm really purposeful in picking and choosing manageable subsections. On the other side, on her left side, I will finish completing the same application technique. So now I have completed her 2 triangle panels in the back for our color blocking, and that was done with slices. And now I'm going to proceed to this isolated front fringe section, but instead of slices, remember I wanted that nice diffusion and still have her foundation coming through here. So I'm going to work on diagonal back and just do some weaves. So diagonal back, and just follow her front hairline with this nice diffused application. So I'm just doing a weave right around her hairline. And then once we're done this, we will process the lightener for 40 minutes, and we will rinse and shampoo everything out. And then we'll come back and re-isolate her foundation and these accent panels and gloss everything at the same time. So now we're back after we've already installed our accents. I am already loving this placement, and I've just re-sectioned out her front fringe and her foundation. Our final formula is our foundation shade is 6BC, 6R, and 20 volume. And we're going to melt that into something really brighter on her mids and ends. So this is 6R with a 1/4 ounce of red booster. And then for her accent pieces, so around her front fringe, and then these 2 color blocks right here, we're going to deposit 8C, 8GB, and a little bit of 6C. So I'm so excited to get into our warm color block. So I'm going to start in the back so I can process everything really neat and clean. So I'm going to start depositing our accent shade first. And I just like doing that for the comfort of the client, and see how we mapped everything out first? You can really work smarter, not harder. It does take some prep work and strategy, but as you get into your flow, it will make the process so much easier and really comfortable for your client and really easy for you as a stylist. So this was where we placed our one side of our color block with those back-to-back slices. Look at the evenness from this cream lightener. It's such an even raw lift here, and it's going to be a beautiful canvas to deposit our final formula on. I have my favorite Kenra Porosity Equalizing spray. I'm going to spritz this on before every subsection. The reason I love this is it is infused with aloe. It has a really gentle formulation. The fragrance is amazing, but it also allows us to deposit our tone and get that even saturation. Comb that through. I even love using it as a cutting lotion, and look at the nice detangling that it gives. This product just gives so much manageability to your canvas as well. So I'm taking my foundation shade at the root and just going to apply this just to that root area, and then I'm going to melt that right into our accent shade. But what I spoke to earlier for this placement, and we'll see it in the final end result, but look how awesome it looks when you pull the hair back. She has that fun pop of color, and I'll show you at the end. Even this is a great placement for anytime you do upstyling, or if your client likes to wear their hair up in a top knot or a ponytail. And diagonal back for nice diffusion. And it's just a good way to part the hair so everything stays back and away from your client's face. So now I'm going to melt in my accent formula. Because I have my clip here, look, I can just tuck that out of my working space here. And now I'm applying my accent shade. Just how we applied in foil, you just want to get that full saturation by taking really manageable sections and working that formula through, going down with the hair strands across horizontally, and how I'm emulsifying it back in with my hands, really making sure you get that even saturation. And exactly what I did in this triangle panel behind her ear is this same exact process that I'm going to complete on the other side. But this is completely going to be our foundation color melt. So I'm going to apply my foundation, which is 6R and 6BC, melted into 6R and Red Booster with 30 volume for brightness on our ends. So with this panel, apply your foundation, root shade. The reason why I'm doing two different formulas or color melt for her foundation is I just want to have a little bit of depth at her roots, and then it can melt into a brightness with that 30 vol on her mids to ends. I just like a little depth and contrast, especially at the root, because then I think it makes those accent pieces look even brighter. And now I'll go in with my mids and end formula. So now I'm coming in and melting right from that first foundation shade into my mids and ends. This is just going to add that brightness. Again, making sure I'm going full saturation with the way the hair grows downward, and then cross-checking horizontally. That helps you get that full saturation of your product. I'm just going to finish the same process that I did on this panel over in this triangle color block. So now we have this section here, that is going to be completely her foundation color melt. So let's resaturate with our favorite Kenra Porosity Equalizing Spray. And then this is going to be our foundation root melt into our brighter foundation. So that again is our 20 volume with 6 BC and 6R equal parts. And I'm just going to start applying this right at her root in this quadrant. And then we're going to melt that into our 6R and booster with 30 vol for brightness. I also love if you're ever doing a melt, see how we apply just how we would do a single process or foundation shade. See how my brush is flat to the scalp, but I can also come in vertically down and just kind of melt some of that so you have some nice diffusion. That will help your end result look even meltier. Just my little pro tip. So now I'll go in with my 6R and red booster with 30 vol and melt right from what we just applied. So see how I want to preserve this panel here? I can just lay a foil just to isolate, and then I can lay this shade on top. So I won't have any transfer. And in this quadrant, I'm just melting in that brighter foundation shade. So now I'm just gonna repeat that, following this pattern all the way up in this section, and everything will process back and away onto this foil. And now we're in our final section, which is in the front fringe. So I've gone ahead and already applied that foundation melt, and now I am depositing our accent shade, which is 8C, 8GB, and 6C. And just still taking those manageable subsections, going down, melting in from that foundation, and cross-checking and emulsifying at the same time. So I am depositing my shade, and then you can see I'm just emulsifying that through with my hands as I'm working down the hair shaft. And I'm just applying this formula in the whole front fringe area. And then everything can process back and away. I can even lay a foil right here and then process everything neat and back away from her face so everything stays neat and clean. And then we will process this for 30 minutes. This is our finished end result of our warm color block. I absolutely love all of the dimension and contrast that it gives to her already warm foundation. And it complements her features and her eyes so well. I hope you love it too. So if you like videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe our Kenra Professional YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the next one, friends. Thank you.